So stress is anything that makes you worry, anything that makes you worry, anything that causes a change in your life causes stress. That is, so anything that changes our lifestyle, we all get used to something and suddenly we are told to change that, it causes stress. And so finally, there is the stress may be defined as the mental or physical strain results from adjustive demands of challenges, that is by Cohen. And finally, in the book 1974, Sally says, one's reaction to life events, the non-specific response of the body to any of the demand made upon it. So what we did was we finished now part two, in which we said what is stress. Now we move ahead, in which we will be discussing about how is the cycle of stress. So the cycle of stress is coming basically uh, when there is some urgency or tension, the body responds to the demand. So, so there is always something change. There is a tension, something I am not competent, something I have to change, some deadlines, some all that creates a body natural response to the demand. Now, what happens is because there is this demand, then there is a consequence. The body has to adjust to this situation. And because the body has to adjust to this situation, there is a wear and tear of our body. So the body has to cope with this thing. And because of this, it causes changing in demands. All of us have to change, either get up a little bit or change the way or consult. And all these things causes worries. And when we have lot of worries, then what happens is we have what we call challenges, and challenges causes mental and physical strain. So this is basically a simple cycle in which we experience stress. So there is some urgency, something that has to be done. The body tries to respond to that. And because in responding, the body has to adjust to the changing scenario. So there is a wear and tear of the body that causes, because of the changing demands, it causes worries. And because of these worries and challenges, we have this mental strain. Now, take for example, you feel very confident in teaching history. You are a social science teacher, but suddenly you have given, because somewhere the geography teacher is not able to come, and because the course have to be completed, you are given geography. So there is an urgency. And so that is, you find your body response, how will I do? And then all that causes worries, and these challenges causes mental and physical strain. And so we come now, what are the causes of stress? Now, so basically there are four causes. We were talking in the basically talking about mental one. So first, that it comes from the environment. Like last week, we had at the beginning of this week a lot of change in temperature. There is what we call the cognitive lack of knowledge, do not know what to do. So that is also, in one sense, causing a lot of stress. Then we have what we call the psychological, the emotional part of it, and then we have the social expectation. So basically, the causes of stress are coming from four big areas: the environment, uh, the cognitive from the mind point of view, knowledge, competency, all those sort of things. From the psychological point of view, and then from the social expectation that is there. And so all these are the four basic sources of the stress that we experience in our lives. And so the third part is the causes and types of stress. So the causes come from here, and the type of stress which we are going to do is basically are also four. That is basically we have distress that is there. We have what we call then uh, hypostress. Then we have what we call uh, hyper stress, and then we call what we call eustress. Okay, so these are the four types of stress. Now we will try to spend some time understanding these four stress. Not, as I told you, not all stress are bad. Just the good amount of stress is always good. If it is less, then it is bad. If it is more, it is bad. If it paralyzes you, it is bad. If it challenges you, it is good. So let us try to understand the four types of stress. Now, first we are talking about eustress. Eustress is basically is called a joyful stress. It comes like when you have to prepare a speech or something before you have to perform. Then all that helps you to prepare well, that is called eustress or joyful stress. So it has a positive effect on all of us. So the positive effect is, and it comes with a successful completion of a large task. So whenever we have to do something during the process, we experience stress, but it is something positive. Yes, I'm achieving my goal, and so I feel very good. And when I complete it, I feel good. So there is a sensation seeking may be an extreme need of eustress. So when you feel something stressed, it is because there is a need of eustress. So the joyful stress, good stress is called eustress. And what does it do? It is a positive stress. It has a carry. It motivates us. It focuses our energy. It is short term. It is not a it helps us to do the task what is there. It is perceived as within our coping ability. We do not see it as I'm not able to do, but something that I'm able to cope up with. We feel excited about it, and it helps us to improve performance. Now, all of us, as teachers, as parents, as classroom managers, should use this use stress for our professional and personal growth. It makes us alert, it makes us focus, it motivates us, it energizes us. So, this is something very positive that we all experience, and we must all keep this thing. The second one is, which is bad, the other end of the pendulum. It is due to emotional upset or physical strain. And so, teachers, what we notice is the type of stress most people refer in everyday conversation. I am stressed out. I'm not able to cope with it. It is very difficult. And so that is what it is. And what is the characteristic? It is a negative stress. So what happens? It causes anxiety and concern. I do not know. It can be short term or long term, and it is perceived as outside our coping abilities. I'm not able to cope, and it makes us feel unpleasant. It decreases our performance and can lead to mental and physical problems. You remember the use stress is short term. This can be short term and long term. But in use hypostress we perceive it is within our coping abilities. Distress is we perceive as outside our coping abilities. And so this is something that we must know the difference. These are two sides of the pendulum which all of us experience in our daily life. The third one is called hypostress. The hypostress is boredom. There is no challenge in our life, and because there is no challenge in our life, there is no goals, there is nothing to achieve, so a lot of boredom come. Hypostress means less stress, indifference. I do not volunteer, I do not take up update myself. All this leads to hypostress, less commitment, and lethargy. So if I don't volunteer, if I don't update, if I don't do something extra, if I don't try to do something new, read something new, then we go through what we call hypostress, which is boredom, indifference, lethargy. Now, this is very dangerous because one can also fall sick, and then one will have less friends, one will you do not become in one sense great in your social life. And the last one is which is dangerous is called hyper stress. Okay, and in this hyper stress teachers, it is due to excessive demands on one's coping ability. So when there is this excessive demand, so we feel all these things, and then because of that, it can lead us to hypertension, it can lead us to anxiety, and it can lead us to what we call insomnia. So that means I do not get to sleep. So hyper stress is very dangerous. And so teachers, some people cannot sleep after 1 o'clock. They are rolling on their beds. So that is what we call hyper stress. And so we must know, we can check this thing. What is it that does not allow me to sleep? Hypertension is, you can see short breaths we are taking, we are always worried, or anxiety, there is a fear that is coming. All that is because of hyperstress. So right now I finished three subtopics. I dealt with what is our common ground experience, what is stress, then I mentioned the four causes of stress and the four types of stress. Now we will see what are the reaction, what happens in our bodies, what happens in our behavior because of stress. And so the signs of stress are stomach and bowel upset. Now, many times when we feel stomach upset, bowel upset, it is a sign that we have stress. So many children, if you notice, they have runs before the exam, or they have to go to the toilet before the exam begins. All this is coming from stress. There is also restlessness and irritability. One gets very excited and all those sort of things. One often experience headaches. If you're getting migraine headache, a constant headache, it is coming from certain amount of stress. There is muscle tension, especially in the neck, in the middle of our chest. Okay, then on the shoulders, if there is muscle tension, this is coming from stress. We get backaches. Backaches is another area where which is a sign of certain tension and fatigue. Little bit of just work and we feel very tired, and change in eating habits. All these are signs of stress. So teachers, if we see that our students are having some of these things, then help them to understand their stress, or in our personal life, if it is coming, then we must know that there is some stress that is going which I need to address. And so, teachers, what are the behavioral reactions? First, there are memory issues. When there is decrease in concentration, then we make more mistakes, we fall sick, we withdraw, and we have sleeping problems. So our behavioral in the four areas, what if we analyze? So when there is too much of stress, children cannot concentrate, they have memory issues, they make so many mistakes, clumsy. Suppose we don't sleep well, and if we are writing a paper, silly mistakes are there, or we withdraw, or we eat too much, or we have sleeping problem. This is what it is. In brief, what are the thing? It is basically decrease ability to concentrate. Now, teachers, this is something that we must, all of us, you remember, as I mentioned to you earlier, attention span is proportion to the age. If you're 40 years old, at least without changing your body posture, you are able to concentrate 40 minutes. Now, suppose after 10 minutes you get distracted and you try and you continue to get distracted, there is something mentally or psychologically bothering you. So, that is called decreased ability to concentrate. Then the second one is we have memory problem, forgetfulness. If every time you are forgetting, there is something that is preoccupying you, or something, some stress is there. As a result, we are not able to remember. And so there are, not that we can do everything, but we must make sure you do a do list in case, because all of us have normal stress. A do list is a good thing for us to remember. The third is we make more mistakes in our behavioral life. We say the wrong things, we do mistakes, uh, we cannot keep confidential matters, or we criticize too much, or we are a bit rude. So there are lots of mistakes there. There is clumsiness, and if one is driving, you can meet accidents, you become accident prone because you're not alert, your mind is not alert, there's clumsiness. Then there is what we call increased illness. They keep on falling sick from here, there. And then there we use frequent cigarettes, people who are smoking. We use alcohol and drugs and cigarettes. Those who keep smoking cigarette have to acknowledge that this is coming from somewhere. And same thing, use of tobacco is also certain amount of stress that is there. And so these are all what we call support systems that we are using. Then withdrawal from our usual activity. We don't like to mix, we don't like to go for social functions. All this is coming under what we call from our behavioral reaction. So it is so it is, remember, in the behavior, we would have these four basic areas affecting our concentration, affecting our, makes us clumsy, it can make us sick, and we can move to drugs, cigarettes, alcohol, tobacco, all this sort of. And we have our sleep disturbances. What these are called behavioral. Now, what are the psychological reactions? The psychological reaction is increased anger. Now, teachers, if you're getting angry very much, very fast at home, in the classroom, it is a indication. It is a reaction to the stress that you have put in. We may also have tearfulness every time we cry. That is also an experience of lot of stress that is there. Or when I have to say something, immediately tears come from my eyes. So this is also telling us about the stress that we have. Then we also have emotional outbursts, emotional outbursts, suddenly getting angry. And that is because within us there is a stress. So then students, when students say something, they trigger certain thing, and so we get this emotional outburst. And then we have also excessive fear. Because of certain thing, we have excessive fear, and that is our reaction. The stress comes because of the fear that we are having. We also feel confusion when we do not know what to do, because that is the psychological way. We have increased anxiety, then we worry too much, we get into depression, we have obsessive thoughts of eating, or all this pornography, sex, all this is obsessive thoughts, and decrease in self-confidence. Now, teachers, I would like you to spend some time, a few seconds, look at what has come on the screen. And if you feel some of these things are there to a good extent, it is good to address what is the stress that is there within you, so that you're able to perform better. So keep this in mind, the psychological and the behavioral reaction to stress. And so, in the light of what I have said now, we try to understand then how to cope up with all this thing. And that is the topic name. And so we come to stress management. We know the different types, four types of stress, all those things we have learned, the reaction. So now the question is, stress management says that it is not bad at all. So we must know how to keep the good one and eliminate the bad stress. So our goal is not to eliminate stress, but to learn how to manage it and how to use it. That is the meaning of management. Stress management means how to use stress for to help us to become better person. So no one size fits all, and so we are going to use stress management mean healthier ways to cope with stress. How to better ways, healthier ways to cope with stress, to reduce the harmful effects, and to prevent stress from getting out of control. So that is the meaning of stress management. What are the healthier ways to cope with stress, and how to remove these harmful effects and prevent stress from getting out of control. And so, what are the techniques? This is the last part of our, and we will deal with each of the techniques in detail. So we have what we call physical relaxation. All of us need to relax. All of us need to spend some time quite alone, sitting alone and listening to music, or doing some exercise, or going for a walk. So that is one technique. Then we have what we call mental relaxation also, where one is doing some fantasies, one is doing some mindfulness, all those sort of things. Then one have to, but another technique is the physical activities, spiritual activities that we can do. Then there is what we call the positive thinking, changing the way we think of things. That is another technique. We have to also improve the communication skills. That is another technique. And the last one is social skills. That is another technique that we have to do. And time management. So, under these techniques, we are going to now take each of them separately. So, we have the physical relaxation teachers, mental relaxation, we have the spiritual activities, we have the positive thinking, we have communication skills, we have social skills, and time management. Now, let us take each one of them and then teachers pick up something which is easy for you. Now, you are guess many of you have got into holiday mode. Try to put some of this thing into practice so that it helps you to become a better person. Now, let us look at the physical. What are the things you can do? In physical, do exercises. Now, all of us need to do exercises. Young and old, everybody need to walk. Everybody need to keep their waistline in control. Everybody have to keep the weight in control. So make sure healthy food, smart eating, all these things. So take care of the physical fitness by physical exercise, sports, and all those sort of things. The second one is adventure activities. No, no. Okay, going for a walk, no, trying something different, climbing, all those sort of things, adventure activities. Do put on what sports shoes and walk. Try to climb some sports. Try to do something different. Work and reaction, we do different type of work reaction, build something new, we do some physical labor. Then therapeutic massage, this is another way in which we can relax, all of us can relax. Then there is deep breathing which we are talking today, that many of us can do. Then aerobic dancing, many can do this thing. And finally, sports, that is another way in which you can do. And then muscle relaxation that you can do. So, teachers, under physical, these are the different exercises which you can do. Make you see your time available for you. If you're going out, please do not do something different. And when you are, since you are not going for classes, no teaching, try to do something very interesting so that you become physically relaxed when you come back from school. And some of these things every day in which you can put into practice to cope up with stress. So what happens is when we do a lot of physical exercises, walking and all these things, the toxics are removed from our system and endorphin come into our mind, and that makes us good. So deep breathing, yoga, and all those sort of things are all coming under physical thing. The next one is what we are calling the mental technique. In the mental technique, what can you do? Read literature, read some novels, no? Something very good. Some people who have written, read poetry, read something on drama, read something on the life of great people, who have made a difference. There have been a lot of social workers, a lot of people who have contributed to society, to women's life. So that is mental literature. Use literature. Uh, Listen to music. Listen to music. This is something wonderful. The instrumental music is a something. Use dancing, in your room. Lock the door. Put music. Dance. Dance with your children. Dance with your friends. It's very important to dance. Dancing is always good. Be consistent on your sleep. Make sure you keep the timing of sleep so that, okay, and take a little break, take a little vacation. Okay, so for mental teachers, you can do on literature, you can do on music, you can do on dance, sleep, vacation. But all of us, we must spend some time in music, in reading, in vacation, not doing the normal thing, just with friends, talking, getting up late, a little bit of seeing new things, new places, new people, sleeping, dancing, all this thing. So that is, so we did the physical, then we did the mental. The third thing, what we are doing is the spiritual. What is something in the spiritual that you we are going to do? In the spiritual teachers, what we can do is prayer. All of us need prayer. Now, prayer is something that all of us can take care of our attention. So, focusing our mind, we have Buddhist way of praying, Nam Jap, keep on repeating so that we can all concentrate, we can all pray. Prayer is a big healer, it takes care of a lot of things. We can also, teachers, do what we call multiple forms of meditation. We can also do multiple form of meditation and spend some time in meditation during this holiday. Start with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, do 15 minutes, and so keep on doing whatever you can do. Go for a little counseling, guidance, talk to friends, seek advice, and all the sort of thing. Now, teachers, we all need mentors, we all need some of these things because the spiritual energy is very healing. And when you talk to your friends, you get a lot of guidance. We are also that can take charge of our life. So the spiritual technique is something all of us, and in the Indian tradition, we all pray. And so not to pray in once a pray just shouting or making a lot of verbal prayer, but prayer of silence, prayer of silence. That is, I don't utter so much, but I listen to the silence. I listen to the silence. I listen to what God is speaking to me. I listen to the emptiness, what comes to my mind. And so that is prayer. And take different forms of meditation. You can go into the Google, see the different forms of meditation. Take your holy text, whatever text, holy text you have, read one sentence, close your eyes, and let that sentence keep on repeating in your mind. And so all that will help you in the form of meditation. It will also help you seek the advice of guidance of people that will also help you spiritually. So we have finished the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. The next one is positive thinking. We know that, if it in the glass of water, there is 50% volume of water is there. You can look at the empty part of the glass, or you can look at the where the water is. So it depends on our thinking patterns. So, son, what is the whole thing? Become proactive. Become proactive means look at the positive. Whenever you see, look at the positive. That means concentration on the positive aspect of the person, positive aspect of the situation, positive aspect of other person. That is called positive thinking. Now, lots of studies are telling us positive attitude or positive thinking people, if they fall sick, they recover faster. Positive thinking people are always proactive. They have less stress because they see this as a challenge to improve their performance and to do well. And so, teachers, this is positive thinking is something which we should all create as a habit. In my last session, as I talked to you, I mentioned about the growth mindset. This positive thinking is about growth mindset. That is, by hard work, by perseverance, we will achieve something. Then we have what we call the communication skill. In the communication skill, building up relation, make friends. Call your friends whom you have not talked to. Call your dear ones whom you have not talked to. And we visit people. Nowadays, we don't visit people. Visit people during holidays. Invite people to your house. So call children, call your friends so that there is a lot of joy that is there. So build relationship is very important. Express yourself, you know have some way in which you can do all this thing of expressing yourself. Give a speech, say something positive, say something very good, and deal with your anger well. You don't have to react to anger. So when you are able to relate to people, express yourself, and then you are able to cope with your anger. Normally, when we do not express ourselves, teachers, we are in one sense, we get angry. We get angry. So, anger management will also come in which will help you to take care of many of these things. The next one is time management skills. In time management skill, and in the time management skills, we need to focus is learning to set goals. Now, there is the Pareto principle which says work expands according to the time available. Now, as principal, as teachers, you have been, if you notice, if your principal tells you, teachers, that by the 15th of July, you have to submit a question bank. None of us will work today because we will say there is already July mein hai, so none of us will work. The goal is because time, plenty of time is there. But suppose the principal says today is the 21st, by the 25th, all have to submit in my office. Most of us today will take the time to write those questions and to do. Why? The shorter the time, the faster we work. So this is called smart goals. That is set goals mean smart goals. That is, it has to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound within a certain frame of time in which we have to do. And so you need to prioritize what you are doing. Everything looks good, everything is important, but you need to prioritize. प्राथमिकता देनी चाहिए. What will I choose? This is first, this is second. That is called prioritization. And you must take one step at a time. Always remember, we cannot do everything at once. We must take one small step, and then we must, this is called time management skill. The next one, teachers, is what we call, the last one is the social techniques. Okay. And in the social techniques, teachers, what do we have? We have to build friendship. We have to build friendship. And in the building friendship, teachers will take some time, friend circle, children, friends, neighbors, parties, whatever it is, but may take time to build. Now, what is happening to all of us in our present thing? We do not mix, we do not interact, we do not go to people houses, except maybe for wedding where there is a big crowd, people eat and they come back. But sitting down, talking, spending half a day, those things do not happen. But it is in holidays, we must make time that we are building friendship. We must do some sort of community involvement, something we do for the poor, like building houses. Uh, all of us try to keep the street clean, some sort of community involvement, making sure keeping the places clean. They're having different boxes for different things, for bottles, for paper, and all. And so certain amount of community involvement, and then we must do service to people, which is very important. So these are the social techniques that we need to focus upon. And so, teachers, in summary, what have I done during this time? We have 7 minutes, so I will like to summarize. So the first thing which I did today is about our common goal. Common ground experiences. All of us are experiencing stress every day in our life. So there is no escape from stress because our body is adjusting, the body is trying to do something. And so all of us have to spend time in this area of stress. The second is we have tried to see what is stress is. The stress is the body's natural response to demands, huh? Or anything that makes us worry. That is what we saw. So when your body has to demand to changing situation, it is called stress. Or whatever makes you worry, that is called stress. Then in the third thing which we did was what are the causes and type of stress. In the causes, we have social expectation. The society expects something from you, the family expects something from you, parents expect, it can come from there, it can come from psychological, it can come from the lack of knowledge, cognitive, and it can come from environment. So these are the causes of stress. And the four causes and the type of stress which we saw is eustress, that is the good stress. Distress is when we feel something is beyond my coping abilities. Hypostress is something there is no stress, boredom, no challenges, no goals. And hyperstress is too much, which is dangerous, that can cause us danger to our personal life. The fourth one which we saw was the behavioral thing, that is the memory. We have seen can't sleep, we have all lot of things that are happening, and then the psychological reaction to stress, that is what we have seen it. And in the fifth one, teachers, we said what is stress management, what are the healthier ways in coping with stress so that we can use it for our benefit. And then we have done these different techniques, that is techniques how to cope with stress. We have taken the physical, we have taken the mental, we have taken the spiritual, we have taken the positive thinking, we have taken the communication skills, we have taken the management skill and social techniques. So teachers, this is what I have tried to do, because all of us have to cope up with stress. And if we do not cope up with stress, it will affect our health. It can lead us to sickness. It can, in one sense, our performance then can decrease. So knowing healthy ways in how we can cope with stress is very, very important. And so, teachers, I do not want to, we have a few minutes more, but what I definitely want to wish you is basically I want to wish all of us is a stress-free life that is there. We can okay. You see how the child has a stressful life. Now you can put in the chat box any questions that you have. We have 2 3 minutes, and I will try to answer them as far as possible. This session I have taken because a lot of teachers wanted this session on stress management, and I was specially requested to take this session on stress management. And I hope I come to the expectation of what you are looking for. There was one question on hypo. What is that? Huh? They asked them not to write thank you such messages because they are hiding the chat. Okay. There was this hypo stress. Hypo stress is basically coming from lack of goals, lack of challenges, all that is coming from there, that is called hypostress. So hypostress is also very bad because it will not make you energetic, it will make you lethargic, and because of that, our performance will be affected. Yeah. We have 2 minutes more. Okay. That's okay, sir. 1 minute. Anybody wants has a question? I cannot see stress free life. Huh? Yeah. What is the difference? That is one question. In the techniques, the spiritual technique is basically meditation, prayer, the connecting with the divine, connected with something out for outside of us. That is a the difference between hypostress and hyperstress is hyper is very very bad. That person cannot sleep, cannot eat. All he sees vision. That is excessive is called hyper,